So on both receipts as well as payment side, we are having two amount column. So it is called as double column cash book. So when you receive the commission, so what you are going to receive? You are going to receive cash in the form of what? Commission. So we are maintaining a separate book in order to record these petty expenses. So that is known as what? Petty cash book. Since the transaction or the goods has been sold on credit basis, so we are not going to record in a double column cash book. Hello everyone. Welcome back to the 10th session of the chapter Recording of Transactions 2. So this is your 4th chapter in your first PUC syllabus. I am Harshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram PU College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. My dear students, we were discussing about subsidiary books, and in our previous session, we have learned one of the important subsidiary book, that is cash book. So under cash book, we learned what is simple cash book or single column cash book, and we also learned what is double column cash book, and we had solved a problem relating to double column cash book. And in today's session, we shall continue with double column. So what do you mean by double column cash book? So it is also called as two column cash book. Now why it is called as two column cash book? Because it contains two columns in order to record the amount. So one in order to record cash transaction and one in order to record the bank transaction. So on both receipts as well as payment side, we are having two amount column. So it is called as double column cash book. And also we learnt about contra entries. So what do you mean by contra entries? If bank account as well as cash account come together in one single entry, that entry is known as what? Contra entry, and that entry has to be recorded both in receipts side as well as payment side. In today's session, we shall continue with double column cash book. We shall go through a problem, that is 12 marks problem relating to double column cash book. Yes, go through the problem. Prepare double column cash book from the following transaction. So they have given certain transaction and they are asking us to prepare double column cash book. My dear students, while preparing double column cash book, so you have to remember you are not going to record any of the credit transaction because we are preparing double column cash book. So we are not recording credit transaction, and you have to be very careful with the contra entries. Yes. We shall go through the problem. So your first transaction have taken place on 1/12/2017. So your transaction is started business with cash. Now we shall just record the journal entry, so it will be easy in order to record in the double column cash book. Now what is the entry for this transaction, that is started business with cash? So your entry will be cash account debit to capital account. Cash account debit to capital account, and this transaction has to be recorded in a double column cash book because it is a cash transaction, because they have started business with cash. Now moving on to the second transaction which have taken place on 3/12/2017, cash paid into bank. So what is the journal entry? When cash is paid into bank, who is receiving that cash? So bank is receiving that cash. So bank account debit, and what goes out of the business? Cash goes out of the business. So to cash account. So we have to credit cash account. So bank account debit to cash account. Now my dear students, remember here bank account as well as cash account have come together in one single entry. Now what is this entry is called as? So this entry is what? It is contra entry. So we have to be very careful while recording the transaction. So this entry has to come both in receipt side as well as in payment side. Now moving on to the next transaction which have taken place on 5/12/2017, purchased goods from Sushma. Now see this transaction, whether it is cash transaction, whether they have given word cash and they have not told that they have purchased goods from Sushma by paying cash, right? So it is not a cash transaction. So we are not going to record these transactions here because it is a double column cash book, right? Only cash transactions will be recorded. So we are not recording this transaction. But you have to write a note that we are not going to record this transaction in a double column cash book because it is a credit transaction. Clear? Moving on to the next transaction which have taken place on 6/12/2017, sold goods to Dinakar and received a check. Here, Now whether it is a credit transaction? No, it is not a credit transaction. And here you have to remember what they have told. They have sold goods to Dinakar. So we are going to credit sales account. But while you are recording in your cash book, you should assume that instead of you are receiving check, you should assume that you are receiving cash. So your entry will be cash account debit to sales account, because goods goes out of the business. As I told, we are not recording or we are not crediting goods account. Instead, we are crediting sales account. Now, moving on to the next transaction, 10/12/2017, paid cash to Shushma. So, it is a cash transaction. So, what would be a journal entry? So, your journal entry is who is receiving cash? Shushma is receiving cash. So, Shushma's account debit. And what goes out of the business? Cash goes out of the business. So, to cash account. Now, moving on to the next transaction, it is 14/12/2017, check received from Dinakar and paid into bank. So, we had already received check from Dinakar here, right? That is on 6th, we have received check from Dinakar. Now we are paying into bank. It's nothing but we are depositing into bank. So what is your journal entry? Who is receiving that check? It is bank. So bank account debit to cash account. And here they have not given the amount, but they have directly told that the check which has been received from Dinakar, same check has been deposited into bank. So what was the worth of check here? That is 20,000. So your amount or the check amount will also be 20,000. So your journal entry will be bank account debit to cash account. Now moving on to the next transaction, that is 18/12/2017, sold goods to Rani. Now, whether they have sold goods on cash basis? No, because they have not mentioned the word cash here. It is, but they have given the name of that person, that is Rani. So what does it mean? They have sold on credit basis. Now whether we have to record in our double column cash book? As I told, we are not going to record this transaction or credit transaction in a double column cash book. So we are not recording this transaction, but you have to write a note. Since the transaction or the goods has been sold on credit basis, so we are not going to record in a double column cash book. Moving on to the next transaction, that is 20/12/2017, cartage paid in cash. So what would be your journal entry? So cartage is an expense. So debit expenses and losses. So cartage account debit, and what goes out of the business when you pay cartage? Cash goes out of the business. So to cash account. Clear? Yes. Now moving on to the next transaction, 22/12/2017, received cash from Rani. Now we are receiving cash. So it is a cash transaction. So what comes to the business? Cash comes to the business. So cash account debit, from whom we are receiving? From Rani. So to Rani's account. Cash account debit to Rani's account. Now, the next transaction is 27/12/2017, commission received. So, when you receive the commission, so what you are going to receive? You are going to receive cash in the form of what? Commission. So, what comes to the business? Cash comes to the business. So, cash account debit to commission account. Cash account debit to commission account. Now moving on to the last transaction, that is 30/12/2017, drew cash for personal use. So when the cash is withdrawn for personal use, so what it is called as? It is called as drawings. So what would be your journal entry? Drawings account debit. Drawings account debit to. So when cash is withdrawn for personal use, what goes out of the business? Cash goes out of the business. So to cash account. Now we have seen all the journal entry. It is not necessary to write the journal entry. So for better understanding, I have written the journal entry so that it will be easy in order to record in a double column cash book. Now we shall see how we have recorded in a double column cash book. Yes. First, we have to begin our double column cash book with a neat heading, double column cash book. and you will be having receipt side as well as payment side. So under receipt side we are having date, receipts, ledger folio. So here under ledger folio column we are going to write capital letter C in order to indicate the contra entries. So if there is any cash account and bank account have come together in one particular entry, so that entry has to be written as contra entry and it is denoted by the letter capital letter C. And we are having two columns, one to record the transaction which have taken place in cash and one to record the transaction which have taken place in bank or check. Next under payment side also date, payment, ledger folio, cash and bank. Now we shall begin the solution. So see the first transaction, 1/12/2017 started business with cash and your journal entry is cash account debit to capital account. So leave this cash account because we are preparing double column cash book. So remaining account is to capital account. So where you are going to record? Under receipt side. So we'll write the date 1 December or 1/12/2017 to capital account and it is started with cash, right? So you are writing the amount in the cash column. Now moving on to the next entry, that is 3/12/2017 cash paid into bank. So your journal entry is cash account debit to bank account debit to cash account. So it is a contra entry. So how do you record? So I'll write it as by bank account, that is 3/12/2017 by bank account. In the ledger folio column, you'll write the letter C in order to indicate the contra entry. But where you will write the amount, you'll write in the cash column. So this you have to remember. So whenever there is contra entry, so it will be relating to bank as well as cash account. So if you are writing bank account, but you have to write the amount in the cash column. So in the same way, if you are writing cash account, but you have to write the amount in the bank column. Now 3/12/2017. So your entry was bank account debit to cash account. So you'll write it as by a bank account contra entry, but you'll write the amount in the cash column. At the same time, for the same transaction, you will write one more entry, that is date is same 3/12/2017 to cash account, that is contra entry, but you will write the amount in the bank column. Clear? Yes. Next is third one. Purchase goods from Sushma. We are not going to record because it is a credit transaction. Next is 6/12/2017 sold goods to Dinaka and received a check. Your entry was cash account debit to sales account. So how to write? So we'll write it as to sales account in your receipt side, and where do you record the amount? In the cash column because it is a cash transaction. So to sales account, you'll write the amount 20,000 in the cash column. Moving on to the next entry, paid cash to Sushma on 10/12/2017. So your entry was Sushma's account debit to cash account. So how do you record? You are going to record, leave this cash account. So you are going to record as by Sushma's account because it is a payment. You are going to write in the payment side 10/12/2017 by Sushma's account. You will record the amount in the cash column because we are paying cash or paid cash to Sushma, right? So it is a cash transaction. So the amount has to be written in the cash column. Next is 14/12/2017 check received from Dinakar and paid into bank. So this is a contra entry because the bank account and cash account have come together. So how do you record? So you will record it as by bank account in your payment side, and in receipt side you will record it as to cash account. So 14/12/2017 by bank account, it is a contra entry, but I will record the amount in the cash column. At the same time, I will record the same date, that is 14 to cash account. It is also a contra entry because contra entry in the sense bank account and cash account have come together, but I will record the amount in the bank column. Clear about contra entries? Yes. Next is 18/12/2017 sold goods to Rani. As I told, it is a credit transaction. You are not going to record. Next, 20/12/2017 cartage paid in cash. So your entry was cartage account debit to cash account. So leave this cash account. So how do you record? So in your payment side, you will record as by cartage account and you will write the amount in the cash column. That is date by cartage account and you will write the amount in the cash column. Next is received cash from Rani. That is 22/12/2017. So it is a receipts. So you are going to record in the receipt side of your double column cash book. So how do you record? You will record the date, that is 22/12/2017 to Rani's account and you will write the amount in the cash column. Moving on to the next entry, that is commission receipt. So it is also a receipt. So you are going to record in the receipt side. So whatever the transactions or whatever the cash which has been received, you are going to record in the receipt side. Whatever the transaction relating to payment, you are going to record in the payment side. Now commission received. So it is a receipt. So how do you record? To commission account. Record the date. To commission account and we have received in the form of cash, right? So we'll record the amount in the cash column. Next is drew cash for personal use. So entry is drawings account debit to cash account. So how do you record? In your payment side, you are going to record as by drawings account. You will record the date by drawings account and the amount is how much? 2000. Now we are done with recording all the transaction. Now ultimately we have to balance our double column cash book. So how to balance? First we have to add all the amount in the cash column, that is 1,20,000 plus 20,000 plus 12,000 plus 5,000. So we'll get 1,57,000. Now coming to the payment side, so we are having 50,000 plus 20,000, that is 70,000, 70,000 plus 20,000, 90,000 plus 500 plus 2,000, that is 92,500. So our payment side is only 92,500. Now receipt side is more than payment side. So what you are going to do? So we'll record 1,57,000 both the side, 1 lakh, then 1,57,000 minus 92,500. So we'll get 64,500. So this is what it is, balancing figure. Now how to record this balancing figure? So at the end of month, that is end of December, so we'll record it as by balance carried down. So in the bracket, you will write it as cash in hand and cash at bank. Now 64,500 is what? It is cash in hand. And it is a balancing figure what we got. Clear? Yes. In the same way, we have to balance our bank account also or bank column also. So 50,000 plus 20,000. So we got 70,000 in our receipt side and coming to the payment side. So there is no amount in the bank column. So our balancing figure would be what? 70,000 only, because in our bank column it is 0. So 70,000 is more. So we'll record 70,000 both the side minus 0. So we'll get 70,000. That is the balancing figure. So what is that? It is cash at bank. Now whatever the amount you have carried down at the end of that particular month has to be brought down at the beginning of next month. So at the beginning of next month is 1st January 2018. To balance brought down. So whatever the amount you have carried down, same amount has to be brought down. That is 64,500 and 70,000. So this is about double column cash book. So my dear students, so this is a very important 12 marks problem where sometimes you get credit transaction also. For that you have to write a note. So here I have given the note, purchase goods from Sushma on 5/12/2017 is a credit transaction and it is not recorded in the cash book. So we have identified here that is 5/12/2017, that is purchase goods from Sushma. So as I told, it is a credit transaction because they have not given the word cash here. So we have to write a note for that. Next is check received from Dinakar on 6/12/2017 is treated as cash received. Now see this. So what they have told, sold goods to Dinakar and received a check they have told. But it is assume that we have received cash. So we have taken in the problem as we have received cash. So for that also we have to write a note. Next is sold goods to Rani on 18/12/2017 is a credit transaction and it is not recorded in cash book. So as I told, credit transactions are not recorded in cash book. Here the 18/12/2017. So it is a credit transaction. So we are not going to record in a cash book. So this is about double column or two column cash book. Now we shall start with the new concept, that is petty cash book. So in our previous session we have already learnt about simple cash book or single column cash book, double column or two column cash book, and in your syllabus you are not going to learn triple column or three column cash book. So the next concept, the fourth type of cash book is petty cash book. Now what is petty cash book? So the word itself tells that. So petty means what? So petty means small. In an organization, not only the transactions of big amount takes place, even the small expenses also takes place in an organization daily, right? So it is quite difficult to record all the transaction in one particular book, that is cash book. Normally these expenses will take place in cash basis, right? So it is quite difficult to record all the transaction in one particular book, that is cash book. So in order to reduce the burden of cash book, so we are maintaining a separate book in order to record this petty expenses. So that is known as what? Petty cash book. Now what is petty cash book? So petty cash book is a subsidiary cash book which is used to record petty or small expenses. So as I told, we are going to record petty or small expenses in a petty cash book, and it is a type of subsidiary book, such as printing and stationery, postage, telephone charges, cartage, conveyance, etc. So these are the expenses which takes place daily in an organization, right? So in order to reduce the burden of main cash book or cash book, so we are going to record a separate book which is known as petty cash book. Petty cashier makes entries in the petty cash book. So the person who maintains the petty cash book is known as what? Petty cashier. So the person who maintains petty cash book is known as what? Petty cashier. The petty cashier works on impressed system. Now what do I mean by impressed system? So impressed system in the sense at the beginning of a particular period. So it may be month or it may be week, or it may be year also. Now what is this impressed system? So normally the petty cashier works on impressed system. So impressed system in the sense at the beginning of a particular month or particular week, the main cashier will give certain amount in the hands of petty cashier. For example, ₹1000 is given by the main cashier to the petty cashier. Now the petty cashier keeps this amount and he has to see through that all these petty expenses will be incurred by this amount. For example, postage ₹200, travelling expenses 500 and cartage 200. Now totally he has spent 900 from this 1000 rupees. Clear? So this amount which is given by the main cashier to the petty cashier at the beginning of a particular period is known as what? Impressed amount. Now the petty cashier will keep that impressed amount and he has to see through that all these petty expenses will be incurred by this amount. Now he has done all these expenses and the remaining amount is how much? That is 1000 minus 900. Now he has 100 rupees in his hand at the end of that particular month. At the beginning of next month, main cashier will reimburse the amount which has been spent by the petty cashier. Now how much the petty cashier have spent the amount? That is ₹900. So 900 rupees will be reimbursed by the main cashier at the beginning of next month. So that at the beginning of next month, this petty cashier will have total of 1000 rupees in his hand, so that he will look after the expenses of next month also. Clear? So this is about impressed system. So what do you mean by impressed system? As I told, in the beginning of particular month or particular week or any particular period, so this main cashier will give certain amount in the hands of petty cashier which is known as impressed amount. And the petty cashier has seen through that all these expenses will be incurred from this impressed amount, and at the end of the month he should give the balance amount and along with that the main cashier will reimburse the expenses which has been spent by the petty cashier. So this is known as imprest system. The amount which is given to the petty cashier in the beginning of certain period is called as what? Imprest amount. So as I told, the amount which is given by the main cashier to the petty cashier at the beginning of certain period is known as imprest amount. Petty cash book is also known as subsidiary cash book. So petty cash book is also known as what? Subsidiary cash book. Now we shall see what is the format of petty cash book. So the format is very simple. Here your first column is amount received. Now what you are going to record in your amount received column? So whatever the amount which is received from the main cashier to the petty cashier, that is imprest amount. So you are going to write that imprest amount in amount received. That is imprest amount. You are going to record in a amount received. Next, on which date it has been received. Then you will record all the transactions or the expenses which have incurred in that particular period. All that date you will record. And a particular column will record the particulars. Next, voucher number. Normally your voucher number will be empty. Next, amount. So what the expenses have incurred. So that amount you are going to record. Now what is this analysis of payment? As I told, in an organization there are number of petty expenses which takes place. So it is quite difficult to record all the transactions one by one. So in order to reduce that burden, so we have classified certain transaction under a certain group so that it will be easy to record in a petty cash book. So we'll come to know clearly when you are going to solve a problem. And this is a very important 6 marks problem. So this is a very important 6 marks problem. Now we shall go through a problem so that you will clearly understand how to prepare petty cash book. Yes, this is a 6 marks problem. Let's go through the problem. Enter the following transaction in analytical petty cash book. It's nothing but petty cash book. Now what they have told, they have given date and they have given certain transaction. So under date column we are having 1/4/2018 received cash from main cashier, that is rupees 1000. Now what is this? This is imprest amount which is received from the main cashier to the petty cashier. Next, 6/4/2018 paid for postage stamps rupees 240. Now what is the expense? That is postage stamps. Clear? Next is 12/4/2018 purchased stationery. Now they have purchased stationery, so it is also a petty expense. Next, 18/4/2018 taxi hire charges. So it is what? It is also expense. Next, 26/4/2018 paid for printing. So here printing is an expense. Now we have identified which are the expenses. Next, what is the amount received from the main cashier to the petty cashier? That is rupees 1000. Now we shall see how to prepare. As I told you, have to begin with the neat heading, that is petty cash book. Next, your first column is amount received. So as I told, what you are going to record in your amount received? So in your particular column, you will write it as cash imprest amount. So what is the imprest amount received from the main cashier? That is rupees 1000. On which date it has been received? That is on 1/4/2018. So on 1/4/2018 we have received imprest amount 1000. So this you have to write in your amount received column. Next, all the rest of the columns are empty. Only this much. Next, second is second transaction have taken place on 6/4/2018. So what is the expense? Expense is postage stamp, right? So on which date it has taken place? 6/4/2018. Now on amount paid, we have to write this amount because it is an expense, right? So we'll write the amount in the amount paid column. Now under analysis of payment, I have divided into 3. So the first column is postage and telegram. Any transactions relating to postage and telegram will be recorded in this column. And the next one is printing and stationery. So any transactions relating to printing and stationery. So stationery means pen, pencil, or purchase of pen, pencil, eraser. All this comes under stationery only, or even the books also. Next, traveling expenses. So traveling expenses may be auto fare or bus fare. So these are the traveling expenses. Now postage and telegram. So it is a postage stamps. So where does it comes? Under postage and telegram. So rest all the columns are empty. Next is 12/4/2018 purchased stationery. So how do we record? So in a particular columns we will record stationery on which date, that is 12/4/2018. Next under amount paid we will write the amount, that is 220. Now where this stationery will come? So it comes under postage, printing and stationery, that is 220. Rest all the other columns are empty. Next is 18/4/2018 taxi hire charges. So date is 18/4/2018. Amount paid is how much? 140. Now where this taxi hire charges will come? It comes under travelling expenses. So this is dash and this is 140. Now moving on to the next transaction, it is paid for printing. Now on which date it has taken place? 26/4/2018, and a particular column will write it as printing. Next, what is the amount paid? Amount paid is 300, and where does it comes? This printing comes under printing and stationery. So we'll write the amount 300. Rest two columns are empty. Now we are done with recording the transaction what they have given in the question. Now what we are going to do? So now we have to total all the amount. That is amount paid column. 240 plus 220 plus 140 plus 300. So we'll get 900. So it means what? From the main cashier he has received 1000 rupees and he has spent how much? 900 rupees. And you have to total these individual columns also. That is postage and telegram. That is 240. Next is printing and stationery 220 plus 300 520. Next travelling expenses 140. So you'll get 140 here. So when you total all these three, so you should get 900. Clear? Yes. Now out of 1000 rupees, you have spent 900 rupees. Now what is the balance? It is balance carried down. On which date? End of that particular month. So end of April. So how much? Balance carried down is how much? 100 rupees. So how did we get this 100? 1000 which is given by the main cashier minus what is the amount spent, that is 900. So you'll get 100 rupees. Now, so when you total this amount spent as well as the balance amount, so you'll get the total amount which is given by the main cashier. So amount received was 1000, and when you add the amount spent as well as the balance amount, so you'll get 1000. Next, what is the balance? So balance is 100 at the beginning of next month, that is 1/5/2018. At the beginning of next month, what does the petty cashier has in his hand? That is 100 rupees. Next, how much cash again which has to be given by the main cashier to the petty cashier as impressed amount? That is how much? 900 rupees. Again 900 has been spent by the petty cashier. Now, in order to get 1000 rupees at the beginning of next month, how much main cashier has to give to the petty cashier? That is 900 rupees. Cash which is given by main cashier to petty cashier at the beginning of next month is how much? Rupees 900. So, if you learn the format, it is very easy to record the transactions. Clear? Yes. My dear students, in today's session, we had solved a 12 marks problem on double column cash book, and also we learned to prepare petty cash book. In my next session, I am going to continue with preparation of petty cash book. See you all in my next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.